Hey, it's John, and this week we're installing some rock lights into our 2020 Jeep Wrangler 4-door JLUR. Stay tuned and go wheel. I just wanted to say thanks to Suparee for sending these lights for free. I greatly appreciate that. All right, these are the Suparee rock lights. Let's see. Oh, these are like little gasket stickers. Oh wow, got a fancy remote control. All right, now we're getting into some of the wiring. This looks like a switch. And a fuse, inline fuse. Right here. There are some zip ties. And then just some bolts. I probably won't use these. I'll probably use something else, but it comes with them if you need them. This looks like your switch. All right, let's see what we got going on here. You've got your controller right here. Scan the QR code to download the app. So, I mean, the quality of the lights, they're pretty big. Download the app. It looks like they tell you to tap into a fuse block, but I'm gonna tap into existing wiring on the Wrangler. So, this is what you're getting as far as what they look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 LED light emitting diodes, LED bulbs on this. There's the 2 mounting holes. And I chose not to use any of their mounting screws because I was going into frame rails or into parts of the body that I could not reach on the backside. And so I used self-tapping screws to mount these. Does come with a bunch of zip ties too that I did end up using. All right, so we have the HD tow and electrical package, which means I already have wiring and switches on this vehicle. So I am not gonna cover installing the switches or the wiring. I took a spare battery that I had and just quickly connected the wires to it just to make sure that they all work. Fade thing. Fade 7, so there's fade 3, there's fade 3, there's fade 7. So we have the factory installed HD electrical package on this Jeep. And so what I'm gonna be doing is just tapping into existing wiring. So they give you a 5 amp inline bus fuse. I'm just gonna guess that this is 18 gauge, maybe 16 gauge wiring. Got some grounds I can just tap into right here on the JL, kind of near the battery area. We still got to figure out mounting locations, but I think you're going to need at least two of these, if not 4 of these, for like a Jeep. So we're close to 10 feet. But they aren't pulled perfectly straight, so I feel like you might get up to 12 feet out of these guys, I'm guessing. Maybe. I am just going to use this guy to tap into. Dark blue and pink is a 15 amp wire that is on switch number 4 for the factory aux. You can see here that I'm gonna use aux switch 4, and I'm pretty sure aux switch 3 is what I have the light bar on. And then you can see where my tire is getting into the fender liner pretty good. That honestly, these would probably be like perfect to do at the same time that you're doing fender liners, because I don't really know what's back here. I'm not super pumped on drilling a whole bunch of holes through here in case I hit some important wiring. So I'm trying to think about where to run these to be honest. All right, so these wires coming off the control module are quite short and don't quite make it across the engine bay to connect. Right, so you can use this stuff if you want, but on this Jeep, this is already relayed and fused, and this is just a ton of excess wiring that I don't really need. So I'll keep that 5 amp fuse in line. I'll put it in through here. heat shrink some butt connectors. And this ground, I will mount to this ground right here just to make life easy. Or if I can find a nut that fits that, I'll put it right there. I do wish that these cavities were the bolts they come with. Like, most people aren't going to use those because you're going often into a blind location where you're probably going to use self-tapping screws. And this guy, all of my 1/4-inch bits are too big to fit right here. So if they just opened up this cavity more, like widened that so much, maybe 1/8 inch all the way around, you could easily fit one of these guys in there so you could drive self-tappers in. So now we're gonna install the lights, and we're just gonna kind of go through the process that I went through to install them. But if I was putting them in like my rock crawler, which is right behind us, I would be, running a relay, running a switch to the dash, making sure it's fused and relayed on my own. But yeah, let's get into it. Threw some self-tappers in. Gonna zip tie them up out of the way next. A lot of slack right here. They give you these little sticky buddies right here. It's a tight space, and so the 1/4-inch impact driver doesn't really fit in there. So I end up using a combination of my right angle drill and my right angle 3/8 drive impact, just to make sure to hammer in those self-tappers into the drilled holes in the frame. So yeah, you're gonna wanna get some self-tappers. I mean, that's what I'm gonna use for pretty much most of the mounting. So I've got one light right about there underneath, and then one on the frame rail right there. And I think that's mostly good. I think if I were to do a fourth on this side, it would have to go back here somewhere going down. And then after kind of testing them out in the dark right there, I think I need something right here going forward, ideally. So I'm gonna play around with some stuff in this area. So I decided to experiment with the light placement. This side I'm putting one kind of on the inside edge of the front bumper. The other side I'm putting on the inside of the fender liner. So I might change the placement down the road, but I want to see how this works for now. And once I get it out on some sort of night run at some point, I'll know exactly where I want to put them. But I think for now, this will be a fun experiment. So just some self-tappers. There's already holes up in here. This like sub rocker area where the factory rock sliders bolt to. So I'm just putting some self-tappers in. Don't mount them right here, and don't put your wiring down low because it'll get, you can see all the scrapes under my Jeep, but there's tons of rock ration scraping. And you mount anything to the bottom of the frame rail or the bottom of the rock slider, it should be obvious, but, or the bottom of the rock slider here. I mean, look at all they're just scraped up, and they only have like 5 runs on them, maybe 10 runs. I don't know, maybe 10 runs. I still have to figure out where I'm gonna put all this slack line at. I have no idea where. There's a lot of excess wire because of the fixed lengths of the wire coming off this distribution block and the fixed lengths of wire coming off the lights themselves. You have a lot of slack, and it's a 5 wire setup so you can see in there. It's not like a hot in the ground. So there's probably 5 very small wires in here that I would have to cut and splice. For now, here's our hot tying into the thing. Here's the distribution block. And then I tried to clean it up a little bit by adding some wiring loom. And then I'm not using 2 of the 8 lights. So like there's a ton of wiring coming off the distribution block that I might eventually run the other 2, but I think for now I'm just gonna run 3 on this side, 3 on that side. And I kind of want to wheel it, see if I think I need something in the far back, because basically I got something right here, something right here, something right there. And the question is, do I want something like more right here or more right here? Or do I want something in the middle of the back? I'm not sure. So I'm just gonna wait and see what I think after maybe some night wheeling, whenever that happens next. But everything's kind of zip tied up. I took a big chunk of wiring loom. I had to kind of fold over and zip tie some chunks right here. So I used one of these extensions to basically reach all the way over here and all the way over here for the light on the bottom and the back. And then, yeah, I used self-tapping screws. I pre-drilled the frame and the locations on the rig where I wanted to put them. So I'm gonna experiment with the front lights. I put one right there, which part of me is concerned it's gonna get ripped off by the tire, because looking at those tire marks right there, I'm a little nervous about that. But there also at the same time, there is no tire mark right here at all, like nothing, but tons of tire marks right there. So I'm hoping the tire doesn't hit that. And then I'm gonna try this one right here and see. I know the tire won't hit that, but I just don't know if it'll get ripped off in other ways, because the factory bumper stuck much further out, much further in. So this one's nice high clearance. Temporarily, until I decide if I like it here, I put a piece of black tape over the top, just because when I was standing here watching it, it was like insanely bright and it was like blinding me. So that's just temporary until I determine all the mounting locations. But yeah, you can play with the mounting locations yourselves. You're gonna wanna have a relay and a fuse. This is technically double fused because the factory wiring right here has a 15 amp fuse, and then this has a 5 amp bus fuse, mini bus fuse. And then now I'm going to see how it looks in here, and then I'll take it out back. No light back here, but a bunch of light up front. And then that guy's way less blinding right there. But does that kick out enough light? Kicks out some light going forward. This one is very interesting because you can see the light pattern kicking out to the right over here. We don't have that over here. We have it right here. And I actually might want to be able to see right there at night. So I might want to put, either relocate that light right here, or maybe use one of those extra lights and put them up front here. But yeah, I kind of like the light in the front, to be honest. And then right here in the middle, you can't go wrong, right? I think I'm gonna turn off the headlights just so you can kind of see what's really going on here. Oh, there we go. So there's blue. I think you have to be pretty close to the control box. So when I was like standing further away, there's green, there's red. So I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Suparee. They did send these lights to me. If you decide you want to run these in your rig, there is a link in the description with the discount code. If you can, please like, subscribe, comment below, click notifications, tell your friends about the channel. I kind of like this like amber yellow, which is pretty sweet. Well, I'll have to figure out why the controller doesn't want to work right now, but it did stop on this cool like amber yellow. And once again, headlamp is off. Need to put maybe one back here. The sides are very well lit. And then maybe one right under the front bumper somehow, somewhere it's not going to get destroyed. I think that'd be cool.